What's up, everybody? It's Pete. Welcome back to the channel. I figured it would be cool to show, again, sharing what I do here in my channel, my vocal chain. That is not always the same. I don't have a go-to chain that I use on every song. Of course, you have some plugins you like. This is All Out of Love, covered by the Hindley Street Country Club, greatest cover band in the world. Sang by Danny and Jordan. I guess we'll pick one here and go with Danny. I'm going to show what I put on his vocal chain, which is right here. And he may look at this and go, Pete, what? That's a lot of plugins. And you'd be right. But they all have a purpose. And you tell me, does it sound like it's overprocessed? We'll find out, right? So here's the vocal I was given, sang into a SM57. The standard live mic, right? Not a studio mic, really. So there's that approach that we're dealing with this particular live mic, and it's not a studio condenser mic. That tends to give you more variations in volume. It tends to give you maybe some low mids that could pop out that need to be tamed. There's different issues that may come up depending on a microphone you're using. In this case, let's go through it. Here's the dry vocal.
I want you to come back and carry me home, away from these long, lonely nights.
Now, as far as a starting point, as a dry vocal, actually, let me turn off the master bus processing, so we really hear it dry.
I'm reaching for you. Are you feeling it too? Does the feeling seem oh so right?
So as far as a raw vocal,
and what would you say if I called on you now?
It's a great starting point, right? Obviously a great performance. And let's see what we put on. So in this order, I really like this plugin. I know they just did an update, and I'm afraid of updates because I don't want anything to go wrong. But the Shepps Omni channel, I always end up going back to this thing. It covers a lot of jobs. So what am I using here? I put a touch of saturation. Can't go wrong with that. It's recorded completely clean. Another thing to keep in mind is these vocals are recorded, right, directly into the computer. There's no Neve console, there's no special preamps or coloring or compression or anything going on. So you got to consider, and again, we're doing, this is 80s stuff, and they were recording through a board, probably with maybe a LA2A leveler or something, going to tape to maximize signal noise ratio. You're going through a board, you're going through EQ and all that. Again, when you mix, you're going to tape, right? So there's a lot of things that color the sound, and we're starting completely from a clean signal. So that's my excuse why I can add so many plugins. All right, so we have saturation, just a touch, which is nice on this plugin, the odd. Gate is off, obviously, on the vocal. I gave a little bit of a high shelf, a little touch of highs. There seems to be a big roll-off. We can actually get to that in the very highs of a 57 because, again, it's for like a live environment. This also gives you the de-esser.
And said that I can't hold
So as I mentioned, you can get in these microphones a pop in the low mids, and this is 200 and down. We have a taming. It's acting as sort of a de-esser for the low mids, so to speak, or a multi-band compression. So it's just catching
there's no easy way.
Some of those occasional peaks down there, right? So already that's going to tame it, sound more like a studio mic when you don't have those low mids popping out. Again, it's just the nature of a live mic, and it's fine. But we're trying to mix it here. And then here we have a standard de-esser from like 5K up.
Please love me.
So again, we cover a lot here. And then we have an optic compressor, which is like a LA2A style. And it's, slow attack, slow release, just leveling things out to start.
I'll be gone. I'll be gone.
A few dB of compression. Next, our Vox. Everybody loves this thing on vocals. It gives a nice little sheen. It does something nice to it. I don't always use it. I may have gone back and added this later on because I thought it needed it.
Gone.
Okay, Jordan's singing there, so let me go back. So you have a nice bit of compression coming in here.
I want you to come back and carry me home.
So it's already starting to sound a little more final. Then we go for, again, it's case-by-case basis. These kind of mics, you might want to do more of this. Multi-band compression. What is it doing?
From these long, lonely nights, I'm reaching for
So his
you.
lower notes are going to get compressed a bit here, and then when he goes higher in range, he'll get compressed here, and then the S's will be compressed here. And you can notice them acting independently. Again, just let's smooth things out and make it sound a little more like a condenser mic would in a studio.
Are you feeling it too? Does the feeling seem oh so right?
See the so and the rights all got a bit of a reduction there, and then some of that low mid. You can see it in action.
And what would you say if I called on you now and said that I can't hold on?
Next thing in the chain, regular old EQ. Again, my thought process, this is pretty much in the order that I put the plugins. So next I'm listening to it going, okay, we're taming it, we're getting it in the ballpark, and there's a couple of frequencies that are just popping out a little too much over the rest. And also, again, with the 57, there tends to be very high frequency roll-off, so I can always add some of that back. If you look on it, maybe we'll look on the spectral analyzer at some point. And getting rid of any additional rumble, low, and stuff that you don't need. Pretty standard stuff there. LA2A, again, kind of style here. I do like that on vocals. This one in particular from T-Rex really brings the vocal forward. And, of course, levels it out. But it gives it a little more presence. I'll turn it on once he starts singing.
I want you to come back and carry me home.
Turn it on.
Away from these long, lonely nights. I'm reaching for you. Are you feeling it too? Does the feeling seem oh so right?
I'm not slamming the needle or anything there. Just smoothing it out, right?
And what would you say if I called on you now?
Well, the compression, the EQ was off, so there you go.
And said that I can't hold on.
So it's like 1 dB, 1.5
There's
dB
no easy way. It gets
reduction.
harder each day.
So none of these plugins are doing a big thing, right? Then I just happened to stumble across this sounding really good on a vocal, and now it's like this is pretty much on every vocal that I mix. It's a tape emulation. I don't know exactly what it's doing. It's definitely trimming off some of the transients. So it's, again, the smoothing out.
You to come back and carry me home, away from these long, lonely nights.
So we're already getting there, right? To me, it doesn't sound overprocessed. De-esser, of course. It's getting a little SE. We added some highs.
I'm reaching for you. Are you feeling it too?
So those sounds are not popping out too much. This is a nice, actually, free one. Again, the free ones sometimes are the best. It's like we've got about 10 free plugins in every mix going on here. The vocal splitter. And this is just adding a stereo image of a chorus effect, blended in slightly. So we'll turn that on there.
The feeling seem oh so right.
I'll turn up. This is the actual.
And what would you say if I called on you now and said that I can't hold on?
Just a drop.
There's no easy way. It gets harder each day. Please.
Now it's sounding pretty close to done. Again, here's a multi-band compression. Pete, so many plugins. But if I'm listening to it and it needs it, right? So low, mids, and highs are split here.
For you. Are you feeling it too? Does the feeling
and that's it. And then
right?
This, just to catch some, a limiter at the end of the chain is pretty standard too. Sometimes I'll put another de-esser because you just need it. And in the end, you got like 3 de-essers. And, oh well, you got to do what you got to do. So here's the limiter.
Right.
How much is it doing?
What would you say if I called on you now and said that I can't hold on?
It's like half a dB of reduction on an occasional word, on a third of the word.
There's no
words.
Easy way. It gets harder each day. Please love me.
That's actually more than I usually put on, but I guess it needed it. There's no formula. You do it by ear. And then I just have some reverbs. What is this? Reverb. And I got different size reverbs. A vocal delay, right? That's what this stuff is, just sending that out. And there it is. And the final vocal sound. with all those plugins is this. Let's get to there. Okay.
Lonely nights, I'm reaching for you. Are you feeling it too?
Of course, there's band bleed back there, but it's really not bad. I actually didn't have to use Waves Clarity to clean up the bleed in this case.
Does the feeling seem oh so right?
And then the master bus processing. So this is
and what would you say
final vocal
if
sound.
I caught on you now and said that I can't
gotta have a big 80s reverb, right?
There's
the delays.
No easy way. It gets harder each day. Please love me or I'll be gone. I'll be gone.
So there it is.
Come back and carry me home, away from these long, lonely nights. I'm reaching for
So
you.
that gives you a little look into, I won't get into reverbs. I could just talk forever, but that's good for this video, right? I'll be making plenty of them, so make sure you're subbed. I have other projects I'm working on besides mixing for HSCC, so I'll be sharing some of that. Whatever goes on at the studio, sharing what I do. Hopefully that was interesting or educational to you. See you soon. I have some coffee.